We might be the Chihuahua.
You are an ostrich.
Eggs.
Dilly din dilly dong, come on!
As electrifying as a hairdryer thrown into a hot tub, my friend.
Aguero! I swear you'll never see anything like this ever again!
I don't believe it! You missed that!
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Honest Football Podcast, where we bring honesty back to the beautiful game.
Today's topics are: how crucial is possession, and what is the point of a third kit? Gents, we've finally hit the World Cup final.
At the time of recording, this is 2 days after England
football's not coming home.
lost to Croatia. However, for me, that wasn't the biggest news of the week. The biggest news of the week has nothing to do with football, and it's a little fact that I found out this morning when we were prepping for this.
Yeah.
It's that, Craig, you have a tradition on a Friday, which is what?
KFC Friday.
You go to KFC on a Friday.
Yeah.
And Craig, how long do you claim you've been going to KFC for on a Friday?
Am I going to get the deal from KFC to get like freebies?
I'm not saying I'm going to get any sponsorship of it.
Well, you never know. About 2 years probably. Last 2 years.
As in every Friday, without fail.
Without fail, yeah. There have been some times where it has come close, not getting a KFC on a Friday. Even when I had a knee operation, I still went to KFC on a Friday. Even been on trips.
What about if
where there's a KFC in town?
My favourite one was on your trip to Amsterdam. You still found a KFC on a Friday.
I was with my mates, and I've been to Amsterdam a couple of times, and I was classified as the official tour guide of the city. And all I said to the lads is, we can go anywhere we like, do whatever we want, but all I'm asking for you is a KFC on a Friday. I know there's one there. I'm going there. That's all I care about.
But so even around Christmas time, say like Christmas Eve or something fell on Friday.
There's a bit different. If it's on Christmas Day, it's a bit different.
Has it fallen on Christmas Day?
I think it has, yeah. And I think that was before like the 2-year streak started again.
So you literally claim every single weekend, every Friday, without fail,
because
for 2 weeks, 2 years.
Because
sorry.
it's that reward for a hard week at work.
No, I mean I'm not.
Obviously, playing football on Saturday doesn't help, but it actually.
I'm not mocking you.
I mean,
it's like Usain Bolt's chicken nuggets.
My question for you, Craig, is: have you had a KFC yet today? It is Friday.
It technically is Friday. This recording. Yes, I have.
Hey!
That's the big thing. I mean, the biggest worry is that you're by far the slimmest of the club. And constantly take the piss out of my weight, so it's a bit of an interesting one.
I'm impressed by the diligence and the determination. Dedication.
The dedication's something so mediocre.
There's times I had to go out in the evening for like a 3-course meal, but I have to go out at lunchtime.
Just to really put it, let's imagine that you got back playing football after your knee injury or whatever, and you happen to have a cup final on that Friday evening. Would you still go to KFC that day? Like, I don't know, let's say it's a FA Vars or something. Not even be on a Friday, but for argument's sake.
Yeah, because I can go afterwards.
Oh, you go after? Okay, I didn't think of that.
I don't eat quite a lot during the day.
That must be a cut game if it goes to extra time. You must be in a bit of trouble.
Quickly shower and get it straight in the car.
Drive for a quarter to 12.
drive to the next service station where they have it. 24
hours. No.
No, fair play, mate. I've got to say that. But for me, that was the best news of the week in what's been quite a drab week for football. I'll be honest, but yeah, that properly tickled me.
Possession. How crucial is it? Like, there's been games we've seen where the opposition has won with barely any possession. For example, Celtic famously beat Barcelona in Champions League with 26%. Scored 2 goals. Yeah. Won in the game. Don't matter if Barcelona got 74% or whatever it was. But at the end of the day, they didn't win.
No.
So what's the point of it? Is it an integral part of a winning team? I suppose is that what we're trying to get at?
I think it depends on their philosophy of how they want to play it. If some teams like to play long ball where the possession doesn't really count, but it's effective for them, it suits their players. Some people like to play on the floor, keep it playing sideways. Jordan Henderson, a prime example, likes to play sideways.
Oh, don't get him started.
No. Do you know what was going to be? As much as I'm an England fan, the biggest travesty for me was going to be the potential. And, I was desperate for us to get there, but that Jordan Henderson this season would have played in a Champions League and a World Cup final. And for me, that is the biggest travesty to football if he'd have done that. Well, so as much as it was an awful evening, that was the silver lining on that very grey cloud.
As bad as Dejan Lovren doing.
No, Dejan Lovren
which he is now doing, both.
Which is absurd. I mean, I honestly think, yeah.
And did you see him call himself on the best centre-half?
I know, I saw that! But the thing is, in his defence, and I hate saying this, in a sense, you can't really argue with him because he's played in a Champions League final and a World Cup final.
Let's wait until the World Cup final.
Yeah, but he had Van Dijk next to him.
Yeah, no.
For the Champions League.
Back to possession.
Yes, sorry, yeah. After we segued him.
It's something that's become segues again. It's something that's become quite a big debate in the last few years. So particularly, I guess, since Pep Guardiola became Barcelona manager, moving forward from that. So we had this spell where possession was the best thing in the world, and everyone wanted to copy Guardiola. And now we've got a few years where everyone wants to do the opposite. Mainly spearheaded by probably Leicester's Premier League win a couple of years ago, which is something we probably don't want to mention. We're not a Premier League show, but it's something that is important, and it's one of the
football.
It's one of the few seasons recently where I've actually enjoyed the Premier League. So it's something I can argue with. So I've got some stats on the Leicester one. Leicester won the Premier League with 41% possession in 2015-16, and they completed 336 passes on average. 19th in the league out of 20 teams for both of those stats. Won the Premier League. Yeah, but then I guess the other thing to that is all the other top six were the usual suspects straight below them. So is it just a one-off?
Yeah.
I've got another big game for you. 2010, on the way to win the Champions League at the Nou Camp, Inter Milan, managed by Jose Mourinho.
Oh, God. Well, they're definitely not going to have a lot of...
They got through in the second leg. They didn't win that game, but they stifled Barcelona. They had 16% possession.
But they didn't win the game.
Yes, they didn't win the game, but they won the tie. They did what they needed to do.
Yeah, they won the tie in the first leg, if you want to say that, because
where they had less than 30% possession again, may I add. But after that game, Jose Mourinho claimed that they deliberately gave the ball away, so they kept their focus, which I'm sure is a slight exaggeration. But the point is, there are other ways to win. It seems quite clear with that. And the thing is, are we saying possession's pointless overall, or are we saying that the majority of possession is pointless because so many teams aren't actually using it anymore?
I think there's a couple of ways of looking at it. I do think... I think it depends genuinely on where you're playing as well. You know, we're talking about the Premier League. I would have the three of us profess to know the least about, you know, sort of National League and stuff, but is there even a place for it in there? What I mean is that are there teams that are well known? You know, obviously Barcelona are known for tiki-taka. Is there a team in the National League that is known for its values of always being a footballing team, or is the only way to get out of that to be like not a long ball team, but quite a physical team? And that would sort of defeat that thing of how important is it? Well, it depends in what context.
I think it's hard for the National League teams because the standard of their pitches are not the best compared to like the Nou Camp, the Old Traffords, Wembley's.
Agreed, but I still think there must be a philosophy, or does that not exist? I suppose that's the point.
I do remember Luton under John Still in the National League, in the conference back in 13-14.
I was going to mention that because it was. I would argue that was probably the most direct football we played in that league. Bar possibly the slight spell under Gary Brabham, which for this day I don't know how he got that job and stayed in it for as long as he did. But in that season, we played more direct.
But you saw the goals that Luton scored.
Oh yeah, the goals
was like 1-2 passing.
But isn't that just because we had such a big budget and such a better team? But we still played with a big target man up front and the quick man running off him. Essentially, all season, that's what we did, and that's why Andre Gray got up the leagues.
I think the point I'm trying to make about that is you talk about possession, but in what context? So obviously, at the very top of the game, you know, keeping the ball and I think it goes back to what you were saying, standard of pitches and players. But actually, when you say is it pointless, it's more. I think I would change it around. Is it effective?
Yeah.
You know, is there any? Can you get what you want to in the lower leagues playing that way?
It's crucial if you use it correctly, isn't it? So
if you've got the players that can do it.
I mean, I guess.
But then if they're the players who can do it, would they be playing in that league?
But still in the lower leagues, this season where Luton got, or last season as it is now, Luton got promoted from League 2. They were still there, you know. They were playing a possession game largely under Nathan Jones, but then I guess the league winners above us, Accrington, played the complete opposite game. They played a long ball game. So is it just the way you use possession? Because we had lots of it but used it well, and they had very little of it and also used it well.
It's exactly what you said. Like, it has to be with your teammates who you have in that team. Specific. You can't all have the same type of player. If they all have the same type of player, it's not going to work.
Yeah, I mean, to go back to this sort of thing of how effective is it, I think, not that we're talking too much about the World Cup, but Spain's game against Russia, sorry, thank you very much.
Oh, yeah.
Where it was just passing. It felt like passing for the sake of it.
That was complete pointless.
The thing is, football, I suppose the way I looked at it is, if it was boxing, you know, it was very, very much like Spain were trying to win on points. You know, they would have a lot of the ball, move them around, etc. But unfortunately, football doesn't work like that. Football, there's not football's not won on an objective opinion, is it? It's won by goals.
Yeah.
You know, and I think the point is that if you're not going to be direct enough and effective with it, is there any point in it? And I think that's what you're saying, that teams can win a league
I guess on your mention of the World Cup, I've got a bit of interesting data on the last 3 World Cups. So that World Cup we're talking about was Spain in 2010, where this probably all started.
Yeah.
I know it started with the Euros in a way, but 2010, where Spain won, only 3% of the games were won where a team had less than 45% possession. 2014, 25%. And this World Cup, up until the end of the quarterfinals, was 23%.
Yeah.
So
you could say people getting wise to it almost.
you could say, are people getting wise to it? Because Guardiola's one was a revolution at the time in the late 2000s, but are people becoming used to it?
I do think as well.
Do you think people were sitting back? Like,
if you look at it and chisel it down a bit more, if you look at when Guardiola started this whole tiki-taka revolution and stuff, yes, they had a lot of the ball, but they played up the pitch and they did it quickly. The amount of goals I don't have a figure, but the amount of goals they must have scored in the counter-attack was huge. But I think teams tried to copy that but got it wrong, and it felt like in more recent years it's just been passing for the sake of it. We're going to do this because it's sideways. I mean, as much as you, I know Jordan Henderson, classic one. Just pop sideways.
More generally, until this World Cup, probably the England team for 10 years.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and that's where I think we got it wrong. Was that Guardiola's was what's the word? It was a lot of possession, but it was always at some point they would go forward and they would burst and it'd be quick and it'd be done at pace.
It's how many passes forward.
It was
and for me a key point is
one part, like quick pass, 1, 2, 3 in the space of like 3 seconds.
And for me, and that's the difference.
Yeah.
Possession. If you're going to do that style of football, it has to be quick. And I think that's where a lot of teams get it wrong. Is it's possession, but it's so slow and laboured that then it's actually self-defeating. That sort of football only works as long as it's quick.
I don't believe where it has to go from left back. Just pass it to the centre backs and goes to the right.
We saw that for England for so long.
But Holden, what does that do? It makes it easy. If I was defending, I'd say, all right, lads, just keep our shape.
It gives you a rest if you're an unfit
I'll
team.
sit back, keep our
But that's
because
the
they
difference.
have to close break through us. That Russia was prime example against Spain in the World Cup. All right, we'll just sit it.
Yeah.
You can pass it in with 25 yards to go, but you're not going forward. You're going sideways, and then you're going back in yourself.
It's scared teams, isn't it? Because I tell you why for England for 10 years as well. It's Michael Carrick often talks about someone who's underused for England. For 3 years in a row in the Premier League, despite perceptions, he had the most forward passes in the league, and that's the most important. The most forward passes, because you moan about Henderson, he just lays it off to the centre half or the left back. Michael Carrick's the most forward passing league, but he had the perception of he just keeps possession and didn't get any England team.
No, that's true. Actually.
And now Jordan Henderson's the key player because he does that, even though he doesn't pass the ball forward.
And can I just say, gets congratulated when he does, even though he should be doing that as a centre midfielder anyway. But that's another.
Can I just say that I think Jordan Henderson's a fantastic player,
despite
the sideways passes.
May I also add, Jordan Henderson, like the rest of the England team, had a very good World Cup.
You'd take him at West Ham, wouldn't you?
Not with Jack Wilshere. No, I think to go back to a boxing analogy, I think the whole point of this quick possession, like you're saying, passing along the back, is to pull players out of position. But again, that goes back to my original point: is it has to be done quickly. If you're doing what we've seen a lot of England teams, which is full-back, centre-half, full-back, that's very easy to follow. If you watch when, say, Barcelona did it, they'd miss out their next centre-half, so it'd be from, say, the left centre-half straight to the right back. That's harder then to get it in, keep your shape with, you know what I mean? And it's trying to work that, bit like boxing, it's almost like jabbing, waiting for that big right hook, but we never had the big right hook.
One of the most important parts of it for me is the full-backs, or now has become wing-backs, has become a key part of it, and that's why the 3-5-2 has become a rage, or 3-4-3, whichever they're using. That was the key thing under Guardiola, is the fullbacks were always on the edge of the opposition box, basically.
Well, if you look at his
because you can do side overload then.
If you really look at his fullbacks from an objective view, they were rubbish defenders. Like, as an actual one-on-one defender, they were pantsy.
It's sort of like Marcelo at Madrid.
Exactly, yeah.
Prime example, one of the worst defensive fullbacks probably in world football. He probably couldn't cut it in League Two.
No, genuinely. Honestly, I think it's completely. I completely agree with you. I think it is.
I think it's more naive of a defender to say, right, I'm actually going to be left centre forward rather than I'm a left back.
But those managers want that, and they keep chasing it.
But why do you think Germany got caught out in the World Cup? Because their two fullbacks were so high.
Because their goalkeeper was on the edge of the opposition
box. The goalkeeper was playing left wing forward, like on Pro Evo. But yeah, no.
But that's why Germany got caught, even in the first game against Mexico, because the fullbacks were so high up, and Mexico. Example was just counter-attack.
And I'm so glad you said Germany, because they were one of the top 3 per possession in the World Cup in the group stages, and they were out, as were the other 2 who had the top 3. I haven't got the names for me.
But
the top 3 teams for possession in the World Cup group stages were out, and the 4th place Brazil were the first ones to get through.
But I think then, just to take it back a step almost, is I think we've agreed that that the whole possession thing at the minute isn't working. But I think it is very much a seasonal thing. You go back 20 years ago, 4-4-2. It was in England particularly, whether it be all the way from the Premier League down to Sunday mornings, everyone played 4-4-2, and then a few people changed it. You go back to the 50s, obviously it was like 9 up front and 2 at the back or whatever. Do you know what I mean?
And still in the non-leagues, most teams plays with a target man, don't they?
Exactly.
Once you get below that national league.
But I think that's the thing that I want to get back to is how effective, or not how effective. Sorry, I'll rephrase that. Can you do that in the lower leagues? Is there actually a space for this tick-attacker that we talk about?
Other leagues, possibly yes, but in England, we don't have we've mentioned coaching before and people without coaching, we don't have tactical knowledge to implement anything other. If you go to a Sunday League team, how many times have we tried to play another formation and it's been given up by half time? Seriously, we were managed by a useless Italian. He tried to play a 3-4-3 with 2 centre halves in their 50s.
This is like going back to Charlie with the other
Don't mention it.
And by half time, we'd gone back to 4-4-2 because no one could cope with it.
But I think going with possession, it's hard. We don't get to see the TV camera angles from high above.
No.
And so you go, oh right, you should be here and you should be here.
Yeah.
Where we're just playing for fun.
What
We don't know what our actual positions are.
You can still have what I'm saying is your philosophy can still be possession based even if you play 4-4-2. Like I've played in teams where the manager would like us to play out from the back even though we've got 4-4-2, and I played in other teams.
Charlie, you're the worst person to play from the back.
No, but I'm just saying I might give it away.
Successfully was the key word.
No, exactly. Yeah. But the point being,
14%.
I might choke in finals. That's a fair one, but no.
And quarter-finals and any time the sun's out.
We were discussing this the other day about this quarter final, but
I don't know how that ball done us, but that's another.
Yeah. I got dropped for you, didn't I?
The point being is that I played the same formation and yet had 2 polarising philosophies. And one manager who said that as soon as you get it, I want you to hit the ball between the centre half and the full back, and another one would be I don't want you to do that at all. If you're doing that, we're giving away possession.
Largely it came down to coaching, doesn't it?
And that's it. But the point being is that I think, is there a place for that really? I mean, of the 2 teams that I played for, in terms of success, inverted commas, probably the long ball team was more successful. However, was it as enjoyable? Probably not. No, I think it's a bit mindless.
I always play as a defender. Don't play football. Just clear it. Head it, clear it. If you get the ball's gone behind you, cover up the other defender.
To be fair, your throw-ins went longer than most people could kick it.
Your throw-ins went further than your kicks.
Yeah, true.
Unless they didn't play.
But I just hoofed the ball away. And I made
my
possession
thing
stats
is
go down.
The problem I had with you is you then chased it.
I think you're the dinosaur that is stopping this possession thing really taking off. People like you who just are too scared to play out from the back. Let's just hit it. No, I'm joking.
You're very much the Arsenal of the 3 of us, aren't you?
Yeah, but for me, it was effective. It was successful.
But think about, and I'm being serious
if I had
now.
another centre back with me who wants to play,
yeah,
I'll just give him the ball.
Just think about
You played with me for so long.
Yeah, you didn't.
No, but genuinely, on a Saturday afternoon, your thing was to get the ball. Let's get it out of that third. Think about who you were playing with, and I'm not going to drop names, but the lads you had were very quick, very strong centre forwards. And that's ideal for them, isn't it? You know, those lads you had up front who would be able to hold the ball up, but also going behind. So that suited them. Do you know what I mean? So it's
at that level, it's a really good point because quite often, and probably almost every team we played in on a Sunday league, maybe not the Saturday leagues and the semi-pro leagues, but the Sunday league, the quickest player goes up front.
Yeah.
Whether they're a natural winger, whether they're a natural centre half, they end up front, even if they couldn't hit a barn door. We've had a few of them. And they go up front because they scare the centre halves, and they make the centre halves hoof it out for a throw. Yeah. This man comes along with his long throw, and it's a 1-0 win.
But that's the thing, and that goes back to what I was saying earlier: is that the way to get yourself out of the National League, League 2, League 1 to a point? Obviously, you can't. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Well, the policy's still safety first. Isn't it?
And is it because of the expectation of those leagues and the standard of the talk about pitches, but also facilities and money and resources available.
Long drain of a season it is.
Yeah, but I mean, even you talk about League 2, we'll say about coaching. Obviously, there will be a budget for coaching, but it's obviously not going to be as big as the top clubs. So, in terms of the number of, let's for argument's sake, pro licensed coaches or UEFA A's they can get access to. So, because of that, is it easier to stick to this very basic? Right, here's a very easy philosophy we stick to. If you can play, but otherwise we go for that.
But we say that with Luton, don't we? Because they had one of the biggest budgets in the league. They had experienced coaches who've been involved in clubs at Premier League and Championship level, whereas most clubs have got managers out of the National League, which have come up from clubs from the National League.
If you look at, and I think you mentioned it earlier, the whole Accrington Stanley story is like you were just saying. They were very direct. When you think about it, they had one of the smallest resources.
How many teams in League 2 on the lower budget in that bottom half can think, well, next season we'll do what they did?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so I do think possession is very much contextual and depends. I would say as a football fan, even, and I'm not mentioning, although I had a sort of season ticket at West Ham and you watch Man City and that, and it is effective. it can be boring as well. You know, it is very soul destroying to sit there and just watch someone play pass.
I guess at that level, it's the price you're paying for the ticket.
Exactly. But I mean,
as I said, you want it to be entertaining.
But you could even get that at other clubs where you drop down to the Championship now. There'll be teams in there who probably would play a similar, not exactly the same as City, but there'll be a lot of that pass. And it can't be that much fun to watch. It genuinely can't.
Especially once you get to 2-0 when it is just the pass along the back for the sake because you're conserving energy because you haven't got the fitness and the facilities.
Let's be brutally honest, especially English football fans, we love nothing more than seeing a big centre half win a flick on. Centre forward, win a flick on against
the most exciting thing is when you get 3 or 4 corners in a row.
Yeah, exactly.
10 minutes of commentary on it. So, I mean, that's the difference between us and other countries.
Yeah, I don't know.
It didn't. We went out.
There was a study done. I don't know how. Well, I was told by a lecturer once there was a study done. How true this is, I don't know. This could be absolute tosh, but if it's not true, it sounds like it could be true. That they took a group of Brazilian children, German children, and English children, and basically said, right, here's a football, go and play. And the Brazilians was lots of flair stuff, you know. It wasn't very structured, but there was lots of keeping up, you know, this sort of, not favela football, do you know what I mean? No, but that sort of stuff. The Germans was a bit more efficient, there was an organised structure, and they would play five-a-side, and apparently all of these English kids just set up a goal and just start crossing the ball in, and these lads were just trying to head it in the goal. Now, I don't know how true that is, but if it isn't true, it
sounds like a man walks into a bar joke.
But it sounds like if that wasn't true, it probably would have been true if someone had done that situation.
I can picture that.
Do you know what I mean? So
but
that's how we're raised.
Exactly, and that's why I don't honestly think this possession thing, as great as it is will ever take off in the lower leagues because people pay money to see.
But you won't think you won't see possession football in the young kids stage.
No,
just running to chase a ball, working your way up through the years under 14s. Maybe, depending on how smart you are now. Watching it on YouTube now can be a vital thing.
But
it's
quite good for us, isn't it? Because we're all defensive players growing up, and
how many? Actually.
You soon became one though. How many times have we been moaned at because we've lost possession trying to pass the ball out?
Yeah, or running it out.
Well, that's ridiculous. Every time I tried to pass it on the floor, I got in trouble.
Because me.
Why aren't you hoofing it? I was as a kid. It was before I'd ever met you, mate. I promise you. But I just don't understand what this culture is. We're so scared to pass it at kids level. Even going back to the parents on the sideline screaming, it doesn't matter.
Well,
just let them play football.
I think with possession, you have to have it in the right area.
Well,
if you're playing it from the back.
It comes Grandad again.
If you're in the war, I'll give it to the right inside forward.
Probably more had the ball. No. If you have the ball back from the goalkeeper and then the attacker puts pressure on you, presses, and he goes back. There's a prime example. Argentina in the World Cup. Ball, keeper had it to defender by that. Keeper scooped up in the air, guy scored.
Yeah, but for every one of those, I was about to say, but for every one of those, there are probably 150 examples of a triangle. A triangle played around the centre.
People got lauded for it. You two were screaming about it for 3 weeks.
No, that's what I mean. But the point I'm trying is it's contextual, isn't it? Possession. I don't think it works. It's not a one size fits all.
Possession in the right areas.
No, see, I disagree with that. I will say they are triangles.
Yes, if you get in triangles, happy days because it looks good.
Yeah,
but if you do it from the back and you put
but Henderson plays a triangle. His ones go backwards.
Yeah, but the way he was though.
We're going against our main argument.
You're not going to concede a goal. You're more likely to concede a goal in that area of the pitch, in your own area, than you would be in the centre.
I agree with you to an extent. I agree with you to an extent, but our main thing was the most important thing with possession is that we're looking to go forward.
Yeah.
Whereas all your exampals are all about going back to the keeper.
No. I'm not saying go back to the keeper. But I'm saying sideways pass always kills you, as my dad always says.
Well,
again. British coaching.
I can't believe that's a general rule that any sideways pass. It's bloody frustrating to watch if Jordan Henderson's doing it.
Give him a rest.
I know that the FA have made steps towards that though, because I know in youth football now, any time the ball goes out for a goal kick, the opposition have to retreat past the halfway line. So thus encouraging, rather than the goal kick being someone just lumping it 20 yards up the pitch. I think it's up to under 13s. They have to go back line so then you can play out.
I'm pretty sure most of my coaches would have said, "Well, you're about 3 inches taller than them. We'll put them up front."
Yeah, that's the thing. But I'm not. But then the argument is, and I've seen this with school football.
But that's why traditionally we've always retreated. We've never had a problem with having possession. It's once there's pressure on us, we can't handle it.
And that's the thing. Yeah,
and that won't change.
But to compete, what blows the whole thing out of the water in the school games that I watch at work. everyone retreats back, but then they give it to the centre half, who just hits it long anyway. So it defeats the whole object of...
Because the big quick man's up front.
Yeah, exactly, that's it, back to there.
You have to see it in the high, but pass it back to the centre back, gets the point of pressure, goalkeeper, puts it long.
Yeah.
Or out for a throw-in during Pickford's case most of the
But I
time.
suppose the point...
No.
Going back to the very...
May have been Ashley Young's fault.
Going back to the very original point, how important is it? I think we've proven that possession isn't the be-all and end-all. However...
There's a place for it.
There's a place for it, but I think that's the hit the nail on the head. Is depends where you're trying to go or what you're trying to achieve. The lower leagues maybe not so much. Champions League, you can't play a long ball really in Champions League. It's
looking forward, isn't it?
Yeah,
looking forward's a key part of it for me.
Yeah, I think that the thing in possession forward is it has to be done quickly, and if you don't do that, you end up going out like Germany did.
It's that time of the week again where we contest 2 Premier League players into the shit list 11.
Well, you say 2, but I think there might be a curveball here. But
There might be a third way where
I
someone's
don't know who's going to come up with that.
I'll kick it off. The first one I'm going for is Marouane Chamakh.
So as you can tell, this is a strikers category today.
It's another West Ham player and another Charlie veteran. Here we go.
I'm not completely sold on the fact that he should be in there, but there was 2 major reasons. I have a terrible haircut for anyone who knows me, but his haircut has got to be about 1 million times worse than mine. I don't even know what's going on with that.
Side part.
Not anymore, may I add.
Oh, he did have those.
Is it on ball now?
Yeah,
There was
much.
Thank God for that.
Do you know? I think the thing that made Chamakh a bit more of a contender was the fact that he was on a shit ton of money at West Ham, played 3 games while he was on loan, and then I think I've got a quote from him. It says, "I didn't really have the opportunities to play, but I did well before, and I know I'm a very good striker."
Was that under Big Sam?
Yeah, but I mean the point being is that.
Well, he can pump it long, he wins the headers, long ball.
He don't win the headers, he's a link man. That's what it says in his Wikipedia page, link man. Like,
it's good to know where you get your notes from.
No, do you know what? I think it's... What annoyed me about him a little bit, and this is forgetting West Ham either way, was there was so much hype about him. And I think he was around the time of Nicholas Bentner, and I just sort of put the 2 of them together. Because he was...
I agree with that. There was the hype when he joined Arsenal. But what you got to remember is he didn't join Arsenal for a fee.
No,
the thing that worries me is Charlie's just suggested a better player than any of these 3.
Nicholas Bentner, yeah. No, he's too shit to even go in there.
Exactly.
And the arrogance of that man wouldn't fit in the team.
As we said before, there's players who are in the shit list and there's players beyond the shit list.
Titus Bramble. As you rightly say, every week.
My thing about him as well was that he was there for 3 years. He only actually played 40 games for Arsenal.
Well,
league games, that is.
Yeah.
League games.
Well, but still, 40...
103 Premier League appearances and 15 goals for 3 clubs.
But
it's not great though, is it?
But one of those clubs was Palace, and
Yeah.
he didn't score for quite a long time at Palace.
Nor the Benteke.
And no, but he was given a standing ovation every time. He had to be taken off at about 70 minutes because he's worked himself into
standing ovation.
I actually watched a couple of clips of a Marouane Chamakh standing ovation. And he was just described as a brilliant, exceptional worker, which, to be fair, we didn't see before at Arsenal, and I'm sure you didn't see at West Ham.
Did you know who was an exceptional worker?
Yes.
Raheem Sterling.
Yes, he was an exceptional worker, and the abuse he got was ridiculous.
Yeah,
do you know who else was an exceptional worker?
Jordan Henderson.
No, Benjani, who tried to put in a bloody shit.
No, I'll tell you what it is. Okay, right, so I'll give you that. He has scored, he scored 8 goals in 40 games for Arsenal. I'll just list the teams that he scored against, though, okay? The point being is that he had such a hype about him. Didn't really score against many big teams at all.
He didn't score in the North London derby.
Yeah, 1 goal in a North London derby doesn't make you a world-class striker, does it?
More than many.
Well, who we got here? Leighton Orient in the FA Cup. Birmingham City. If you're taking the Champions League, he scored against Partizan, Braga, Legia Warsaw, Shakhtar Donetsk, Wolverhampton Wanderers, Reading. They're not exactly clubs that would be...
Was that a Champions League record, though?
What do you mean, was it a Champions League record?
You get, like, quickest amount of, like, just a certain amount of goals in a short amount of time. Chamakh.
Don't know, I can't say
No,
I
I
played
don't
that
think
much
so. No.
attention to his
I
career.
did see something in the records, but...
The point being is that I just think that he was the most overhyped Premier League player. You know, everyone at Arsenal loved him, and I can't actually understand why. I don't think my anger's necessarily at him. I think my anger's more at the stupidity and naivety of Arsenal fans to think that he was a decent striker.
The only thing that got me out of it, that made me think he deserved to go in there, that's pushing it, is how long he was there for.
Exactly, 3 years, 40 games, 8 goals in 3 years.
And most of them were off the bench, to be fair.
Yeah, against shit teams, as we've just described.
And Arsenal at that point didn't win anything at times. So
yeah, absolutely.
To say for Arsenal fans, Shamak was like, he's going to be amazing. It's very hard to believe that, and Arsenal fans are like...
I guess 2011-2012 season, 11 appearances, all as a substitute, 1 goal, which came against a defeat to Blackburn Rovers. I mean, need I say any more?
I remember that game, 4-3.
Yeah, it was a great game actually, wasn't it? We've got to focus on some of the positives as well. So, outside of his career, and this is the problem we've got with both of the players we've nominated, really, is they've had relatively good careers. So, Shamak for Morocco had a decent record. I accept that the pace of the African Nations Cup is not the greatest, and I accept that the qualifying pace is even worse.
That's great, but did Morocco get to the World Cup?
They did get to the World Cup.
Not with him, though.
Not with him.
Exactly.
But they did to this World Cup. And I'm sure his influence lived on in that one. Okay, I might have been pushing it there.
Yeah.
Before he went to Arsenal, and the reason he got his move was because of his form at Bordeaux. And I know his scoring record was still only about 1 in 4.5, 1 in 5. But he was still their 8th full-time top scorer in league games. I mean, that's not bad going. They're a decent club, Bordeaux. Do you know what I mean?
I have to question Arsenal's recruitment policy.
Well, I think they just had their retired French player Gilles Grimondi had started as a scout there, and I think he'd influenced a lot of the signings at that time, of which Shamak was one. And again, that's not Shamak's fault, is it?
No.
The only bit I noticed about him was a bit about his personal life, actually, which was that his brother owns a restaurant in Morocco. He goes and waits tables on it when he's out. He goes and helps out. He goes and helps out the restaurant. He's also an intelligent man. He's got a degree.
What's a lovely bloke.
He has to be in the shit list for that alone now.
Well, we did have Danny Murphy in for... Not Danny Murphy, Danny Mills, sorry. Never going to be Danny Murphy. Danny Mills for owning a...
No. There's one thing between being an entrepreneurial, buying...
But isn't it better?
It's another thing to wait tables.
Yeah, but isn't that more classy than going and saying, well, I've got better money, I'm going to go...
No, I would almost argue that he's...
But family's the most important thing.
No, but I think he's realised...
But he's...
I think he's realised that I'm that shit at football, the only thing I can do is wait tables. And for me, he should be in for that alone.
I think that's
okay.
Right, move on.
This other striker also joined a Premier League team for free.
Yeah.
Could I just say, got some cracking quotes, but not all of them we can say on here.
Yeah, do you know what? When I researched on him, I actually cracked up laughing.
There was one massively political one involving Ukraine and Russia.
Yeah, we're not going to go there. We're not going there. That's too political. We don't like that in this sort of show. But Andre Voronin.
It's the first time I've heard that.
Well, not being political.
Yeah.
Andre Voronin joined Liverpool in 2007. All I can remember Andre Voronin is missing a hatful of chances against Luton, a depleted Luton Town in the FA Cup.
I would say
thank God for that.
His record isn't too bad, but there's one reason why Andre Voronin should not be in the shit list, and it is this, okay? Obviously, he went to Liverpool. Now, I love this quote. It's one of the best things I think I've ever read.
I did like this when I read it.
So he was interviewed about, he played in Germany, and he said how far behind England was in terms of comfort and culture, and that his house had been robbed, and so had Steven Gerrard's, and they live on the same road, even though there's policemen there. But the best bit out of all of it was, his wife had to go back to Ukraine. Was it Ukraine? Yeah, Ukraine. And he stayed, and he said, I studied English twice a week with a teacher, and I've made some progress in it. But English isn't the main problem. The main thing is to learn to understand the local players like Gerrard and Carragher. They speak with some peculiar local native accent, and sometimes I have no clue what the guys are saying. Many foreign players here have the same problem. I love the fact that he's just completely said, right, I have no idea what scouts are talking about.
We've got to appreciate honesty on this podcast.
No, exactly. So for that reason alone, he should be in there.
And again, focusing on the same thing as for Shamak, really, is outside of England, probably more so for Voronin. He had a pretty good career. So at Leverkusen, he scored nearly 1 in 2, and they're a big club in a decent league, in a better league than the French league.
A lot better than I was going to say than Shamak.
He's also played a lot for Ukraine. Admittedly, he was in the shadow of Shevchenko and Rebrov at the time, but he played in that second striker role and was again highlighted as an influence for his hard work rather than his goal rate, which was about 1 in 10.
Did he get pulled off the pitch?
Sorry?
Did he get pulled off the pitch for his hard work?
I don't know, because Ukraine were probably losing a lot of those games in mid-finals, so probably not quite as fair.
Was he there for Euro 2012? Was he too old?
He was Euro 2012 he played, and he played in the World Cup 2006, but he was mainly a substitute in those games.
So, we've got Voronin, Shamak. Speaking of Voronin, you've got another Liverpool teammate that you want to also put in?
I have, and it wasn't until I was looking at Voronin in the season he came to Liverpool. And
so I'm trying to clarify, Voronin's out.
If one of those two are going, it's got to be Shamak.
I'll go. Voronin's out. Shamak's in at the moment.
Good. Yeah,
Shamak
good
is
choice.
currently in the team.
But This man, Craig told me last
Player
week.
to enter the game here, Cody.
Yeah, you told me last week this player was too shit to enter the shit list.
And I agree.
But I don't think we can have two from the same category that are too shit to enter the shit list. And this man, to me, at just the end of last season, really, is the reason he should be in there for me. So this man is David Ngog, who was pretty famous and touches a little nerve with a lot of Liverpool fans, mainly for the amount of money he earned and how good he said he was, like many other players. He did, to be fair, score in a Merseyside derby, and he did say it was a great spell of his life, and that's why I'm winning.
He did score against Manchester United as well at Anfield.
He did, but he still his rate for Liverpool was 1 in 7, which, let's be fair, isn't great. He had a couple of years.
So he's like the Danny Welbeck for England, is he?
And I mean, he ended up at Liverpool. Well, no, because Danny Welbeck's brilliant off the ball, whereas David Ngog not so much. Best player in the world off the ball.
He's doing brilliant for England in the World Cup off the ball because he's not even getting the ball.
If he'd have started that Belgian game, we would have been not talking about a 1-0 defeat. So he started his career at PSG. Obviously made what we would say at the time was an interesting sidestep to Liverpool afterwards. He then had a little bit of a collapse in his career.
A little bit?
A little bit. So he went to Bolton, who at the time were a Premier League team.
14 goals he got there.
14 goals, but still a rate of 1 in 6 just over.
But didn't they get relegated that season?
They did in one of his seasons there, and that was under Owen Coyle, who's going to pop up again later in his career. He then went to Swansea, a bit like Shamak. 3 appearances, no goals, most of the time unavailable.
Did he go to Swansea?
He did go to Swansea, and he was unavailable a lot of the time. He did. 2014.
Oh, wow.
He then went to a couple of French clubs, so Reims being one of them.
Rennes.
Excuse the pronunciation.
Oh, he's Reims.
No, it's not the Reims, yeah. So his rate there was the best in his career, which is 1 in 4.5 in the French league.
How did you get 1 in 4.5?
And I think one of those seasons was in the second league as well. So I mean, we're talking about a drop down there. He then went to the Greek league to play for a mid-table club.
I love the next one.
1 in 30.
Oh, no.
And then Owen Coyle comes back to life. In January 2018, he swooped for David Ngog to go to Ross County, where he scored 1 goal in 10 games and got released 4 months later.
Can I say though, his 1 goal was against Glasgow Rangers.
That might save it.
No, I don't think it would though, would it? Because he then got released.
No, I've got to be honest. I mean,
Ross County got relegated.
They did. Much
he
like he did
at
at Bolton.
I mean, if you look, he did. The only thing I would say in his saving grace, he did score in Liverpool's opening match of the 2011
against Arsenal.
season.
Against
Arsenal, where he rolled Thomas Vermaelen and put it in the top corner.
Yeah, he smashed it in.
I think after that, and there's 2 things to that. I think his career went downhill, and also that goal was against Manuel Almunia, who we all know is a very.
We've got to put that in as a disclaimer, haven't we?
No, I would have to admit defeat on this. No matter what I say about Marouane Chamakh, he's never going to be as bad as David Ngog.
David Ngog,
I mean,
Marouane Chamakh. I really hate David Ngog. And hate's a strong word. I really don't like David Ngog.
Do you know, it's just the name David Ngog does not belong at Ross County. the arrogance of even thinking
all the Jemba at St Mirren.
No, exactly, that's what I mean. Like, it doesn't.
So,
and there's again Liverpool, a lot of poor French signings as well with the Latalics and things like that.
Bruno Cheroux.
There were a few of them, weren't there?
Cinema Pongo.
Cinema Pongo was French.
I didn't know.
I can never forgive Cinema Pongo.
He's the cousin of Jean-Alain Boumsong, who's very, very lucky to not be in that list, to be honest.
Well, he might be. He might be. Future episode. Plug. No, I'm joking.
So, verdict.
Ngog or Chamakh? It's a toss of a coin because they're both annoying.
Is it really a toss of a coin?
I think even I was plugging for Chamakh, and even I think that Ngog is streets ahead of him.
I don't rate Chamakh. I said David Ngog in the past is worse than the shit list with Heskey's and your...
Heskey is not on the shit
list! 100 club, much like Giroud.
I need to say this. We need to stop mentioning Heskey in the same bracket as strikers.
No. Craig needs to stop mentioning Heskey.
I will keep mentioning Heskey as much as I like.
I cannot believe that is a travesty you keep mentioning.
There could be at least 100 players on that list ahead of Heskey. I'm sorry.
I will go with David Ngog.
Yes, I agree with that.
Because
I don't agree with Heskey, but I agree.
Does that mean Benjani out of the squad altogether?
No, he's still on the bench. He's still on the bench.
Benjani's on the bench. He's the only one on the bench.
He's the only one on the bench. Chamakh somehow got off the bench because I still prefer Benjani on the bench than Chamakh. So, David Ngog, Liverpool, famous for his antics at Ross County, or lack of.
Was he that famous for them?
Probably going away. Probably didn't get possession. Is in the shit list.
Here we go.
So, who actually owns a third kit?
Not only do I own a third kit, I own probably, for an Englishman, the most random third kit you're going to come across.
Go on.
So no, whenever I go away on holiday or various places, I always try and collect a football shirt from somewhere. So I went to Florence recently, so I've got a Fiorentina shirt. I've been to Albania, so I've got an Albanian national shirt.
Supporting the lower league clubs there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I went to Bruges, and basically the Club Bruges shirt was too expensive, so I went for the third division team, which is called Circle Bruges.
You've redeemed yourself.
Yeah. But of third team shirts, the best one I've got is Hertha Berlin 2004.
Fantastic.
Third team shirt. Reason being, it cost me £8 off of eBay. But the point is, I went to Berlin. I couldn't find a cheap. I mean, there's obviously little rules to my sort of collection. I'm not going to pay more than about £20 for a football shirt. No matter how much of a collection it is. Yeah. The only two I haven't got is actually Ajax, because you can't seem to get a Ajax football shirt for less than £20. So if anyone's got one and they want to shift it to me for £20,
I've got a fake one. It looks very real to me.
I've got a fake Ghana one with Stephen Appiah on the back. But anyway. And the other one is Cuba, but there's political reasons why I can't get a Cuban shirt, because it's a communist country. So I will leave it there. But yeah, I do have one. So I don't mind a third shirt. Yeah.
I think I do. I can't remember in my collection if I have a third kit, but I probably did at some point. And looking at third kits, obviously some teams need a third kit. Obviously, teams.
That's my issue. But go on, you go first.
Obviously, if for example some team plays in red and white stripes, and you only got a red or a white away kit,
which by the way is a huge oversight.
And that's the thing.
If you've got a red and white home shirt and you go, I'll tell you what, our away kit should really be either red or white. Someone in the marketing team needs to be taken out of a job.
So obviously you need that another kit. So obviously a different colour, so it doesn't match.
Yeah.
Doing my research on the lower league teams of in League 1 and League 2 from last season, 7 League 1 teams had a third kit.
Yeah.
Blackburn, Bury, Bristol Rovers, Fleetwood, Oxford, Plymouth and Shrewsbury. Half the league teams in League 2 didn't have a... did or didn't really.
Can I make a quick interjection? I agree with you on the marketing sort of stuff. You talk about Luton Town and whatever, for example. So Luton Town have an orange kit. Now, I can't imagine there's many teams in the English Football League who play in orange or something near orange. And this is the bit that you're making, Dan. I think is hilarious. So they've got an orange kit. What colour are they going to make the away kit? White. How many teams do you know play in white? There's just countless teams who play in white. They've got this random purple third kit, which is brilliant. Have that as the away kit. No one else plays in purple, do they?
What makes it a bit weird, some of the rules of you have to... There's a certain shade you can't use. Weirdly, I can't understand... Sweden play in yellow, England play in white, but they have to use red. Well, that makes it worse. That don't make sense. But third kits, for me, obviously, my team had a third kit.
Yep.
That I played in the third kit wasn't the greatest colours. I'll be honest. But obviously, the team our home kit is claret and blue. Our away kit is light blue. So obviously, sometimes you're going to need that third kit.
I mean, for me as a child, one of the first Sunday League team players I played in Luton Town's third kit at the time, which was a classic SKF blue and orange shirt. Again, their home or away kit that season, depending on the stage they were at, was orange, and they put orange stripes on the third kit, which, again...
It baffles me.
Absolutely.
But I think, obviously, you're using a third kit. Some clubs will use it as a marketing tool, get extra sales.
Well, that's a good point.
We'll come into that.
But then some, obviously, if you're going to use the third kit, obviously use it as your away kit, but the fact that you get to use it once for the whole season,
and that's normally not through necessity; it's through contractual obligation because they paid for got a different sponsor to pay the millions of pounds, or in the lower leagues thousands.
I remember Southampton.
And they have a cup kit, don't they, and stuff, don't they?
Man City used had a black third kit last season, mainly for Champions League.
Well, can we solve this? I think we could solve this in quite an easy and, I'll be honest, quite a retro way that all of us will remember. Reversible shirts.
Yes, was that?
England
2002.
England had a reversible shirt. United had a reversible shirt. Do you remember they had the gold one, and then on the other side was it white? I think. Do you remember Man United in the mid 2000s?
There was a bit of a problem with that though, wasn't there? It's for the marketing teams. They lost £40 out of that, and that seems to be the only important bit. And they lost another few grand out of having a different shirt sponsor. So this is the thing that annoys me. I'm going to talk about my club, Luton Town. It is really annoying for me. So they've got 3 kits. We've talked about the third one, which is purple. Did you know they have 3 different main shirt sponsors for the 3 kits?
Who Luton do?
Luton in League 1 have 3 different shirt sponsors for 3 different kits. Okay, Is there any reason for that other than money?
No. I would like to add the video for the 3 different sponsors is possibly the worst thing I've ever seen. If you get a chance, YouTube it because it is horrendous. All I remember was the manager getting picked up on like a forklift truck.
That was on a street not far from my house.
Exactly. And he's got like the keys.
What's that noise?
He's got keys to the new house or something like that.
Yeah,
Like,
because
shocking.
it was the residential.
I mean,
But no, I do
think
agree
it's the
with
thing
your
that annoys me, particularly with the lower league. In the top leagues, it seems to be that it's just become more of a fashion thing, really, isn't it? To bring fashion into football. It's like to
Well, they do
make
commemorative
something
kits, don't they?
exciting that they can sell for FIFA points, realistically,
Yeah.
isn't it? Which, again, is morally wrong. But
Yeah.
moving on to the lower leagues, like Luton, and as Craig's mentioned, half of the clubs in League 2 and 7 or 8 in League 1, as you said. Was it 7, I think you said, in League 1?
Sorry,
Last
17.
season.
Sorry, 7 teams didn't have.
Oh, in League So
League 1.
17 did. That's ridiculous. I mean, what we're talking about here at this level... in League
You're trying to work out the maths quickly, aren't you?
Yeah, I was hoping you were wrong.
It's the one thing I'm good at, mate.
I was hoping you were
I've got
wrong.
one strength. League 1 and League 2. I mean, we're talking about clubs where there's only going to be a set number, maybe taking out big clubs like a Blackburn or someone like that, who were one of the ones not to have it, I think you said. So
Yeah.
we're talking about a lot of clubs where they have a very small, loyal group of fans who are going to be, particularly in League 2, we're talking about 400 or 500 season ticket holders of some club. They're the only people who realistically are going to buy the shirt of that club rather than a Premier League shirt. Okay, so they're a club.
Yeah.
They're a club who are relying on 500 shirt sales, and they're going to probably buy the home and the away kit because they're very loyal, devoted fans. And they want to give money to the club. If you're giving them a third kit and you're saying go and spend another 45 quid on that, knowing it costs a quid to make, they are basically taking the piss out of the people who are paying the money to keep them running.
I think it is pretty shocking. I suppose to play slightly devil's advocate, but would the cost they get back outweigh that? What I mean is that
It depending on how many, the design of the kit.
could that make that extra shirt? Could that pay for that extra player?
But
that
at the
they're
lower
getting in
level,
League
is that
Two?
realistically going to happen?
No.
Again, at the top level, with someone like Man City, where they did their big colourful purple and orange one, that's going to attract plenty of people.
Obviously, the big clubs will get away with it because it's got a global audience.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Where they'll make shirt sales of Mo Salah in Egypt, for example.
Absolutely.
So I think, I think they're. I mean, I used to like the reversible shirts. I've got to be honest.
I didn't mind
I
it.
don't have a problem with third kits. I need to get that out of the way.
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with them if there's a genuine need for a third kit. And I don't mean a genuine need in red and white stripes is the home kit and we've got a white away kit.
Yeah, who was it that
That's
did that?
something
Was that Sunderland or Southampton or someone?
Something that should be sorted out. I think it was
I
Sunderland.
don't understand that. So I'm going to pick on Southampton in this because Southampton have a couple of seasons ago had a black or blackish charcoal away kit.
Yep.
They played Man United at Old Trafford, wore it.
Yep.
League Cup final, they wore white, and that's the only time, bar one game against Bournemouth, I think it was, they wore that kit.
Yeah.
What is the point?
There was a game a few years ago in the Premier League, I think it was Watford v Arsenal, and both teams, for contractual reasons only, wore third kits. Both teams came out in their third kit.
There
One
has to
team
be
plays in
there's
yellow,
something
one plays in red and white, and Arsenal's away kit's like dark blue, and they're playing in their third kits, both teams. Is there any reason for that other than to take the piss and to get the money for the sponsorship?
No,
I'm sorry,
I do
there's not.
agree, yeah.
If there's a genuine need, if
I
you
think
have an all red home
that
kit,
has to come in the deal
Yeah.
that you ought to play.
that's the
That's
problem
so
though.
nice.
That's the only reason it's for.
But I agree, it's pricing out fans. If football shirts were 10, 15 quid, to a point you can understand.
You
The League Two clubs, right?
Yeah,
The
go
League
on.
Two clubs that didn't have a third kit don't have an actual budget. They obviously they're the lower league
Yeah.
side. So it's obviously going to be hard to then try and make another shirt sale to actually go right. We need another kit.
Yeah.
To actually get fans
Could
to
you
buy
argue?
it.
Could you meet them halfway and say, right, you don't have a third kit, you just have a third shirt. So say the away kit is a black top, black shorts, black socks.
Oh, that's
And
the
then
most
you-
annoying bit. Yeah.
Then
The
you
shorts
get
and
like
socks.
a yellow top as an third kit. I mean, I'm just saying for argument's sake. So then the yellow top still goes with the black shorts and black socks. So you only end up having to, as a fan, you know, when your little boy wants or girl wants like a full kit.
Yeah.
You know, you got that sort of shorts and socks
comes
does
with the
both
package,
kits
yeah.
almost. Like,
And I mean, the shirt. I mean, it seems with the socks and the shorts, particularly the socks, that teams are deliberately putting a stripe on it so they can have a third set of
oh
socks.
gosh, have you seen how expensive they are as well? A pair of socks is like 15 quid.
It's unbelievable.
And then obviously the footballers just cut them off anyway, and then have the actual Trevexo, whatever it's called, brand.
Which, by the way, in another podcast, I'm going to massively kick off about. What difference a pair of socks makes, I have no idea. But anyway,
Yeah,
another
I did
time.
see this the other day, and I wasn't happy with that as well.
The thing for me is a genuine need is fine, but it seems to me that a lot of teams are marketing away kits to be similar to the home kits deliberately, and that's where my problem is with it. Premier League, I get it. It's fashion. It's going to be on FIFA. It's going to be seen by millions of people. And it's potentially going to attract. The benefits will outweigh the cost. But at the lower league, there is no other reason for it other than really to take advantage of fans who are the most loyal to them, who are already spending hundreds of pounds to follow them across the country on the terrace.
I think, obviously, I don't want football shirts to be expensive, even though they are to this day. I think a third kit shirt to sell should be a lot cheaper.
Yeah, I think if you've got a third one, and you realistically,
and
the problem is, we all know corporate-wise, they're never going to do that. But I do agree that if you're going to have a third kit, it's probably going to be worn less than half a dozen times. You should pay half the price.
The thing is, particularly in like League 2 and League 1 and places like that, and particularly in the conference, where I think I did a bit of research, there was 4 or 5 that had a third kit in the conference as well, which that's another argument for another day. The thing that we have,
it's this argument. It's the same
but it comes more into the cost for me because it's just really a piss take, to be honest. But what I'm saying with these ones is we're looking at teams who realistically have no intention of ever playing in that kit. Do you know what I mean? We're talking about conference kit. And I've had a bit of data actually on the 5 conference teams. 3 of them used that kit once, and only 1 of the 3 was because of a genuine need.
Name and shame them.
I'm not going to name and shame.
Were they the bigger clubs in like top half of the National League, or they were the?
It was actually a mix. So there were 2 teams. 1 team that finished in the playoffs, 1 at mid-table, and 1 lower mid-table. So
the shame is that we'll never know the actual. Market value. We'll never know how much money they
sold this amount of
shirts. But if every fan at lower league, where you've got them small clubs who say have the 300 or 400 who are going to buy the shirts, if every single one of them says I'm not going to buy a third kit, and they actually did it, that solves that problem at the lower league, because we've seen power from fans and things.
The big issue then is people buying the third kit. Is that what genuinely, on a serious note?
In the lower leagues in particular.
Yeah, if people keep buying it, they're going to keep making them. If you did like a boycott...
And people will keep sponsoring them.
But then,
exactly.
The thing is, people will go, look, flip side of it, will go, I like that kit, I want that kit, I want to wear that kit.
I see what you mean. I suppose if it's better design than the away kit.
But I don't think at that level fans really care.
No, but I would say of the 3 Luton kits, obviously you've got the orange rubbish.
I'll look at the white, the third kit.
I think the third kit.
Buy the away kit, and there wouldn't be a third kit. It's not a problem.
No, but I do think the third kit is better looking for Luton, for example. Is better looking than the away kit.
I had one other point on this, which was the biggest thing fans talk about. And if you talk about a club, one of the first things a fan will tell you is what colour they're playing.
Yeah, true.
Their identity, their club. So if I say, what are West Ham? Claret and blue.
Yeah.
What are Man United? Red and white. Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you turn up. So let's take Man City for example. We play in sky blue, but our third kit is orange and purple. I know that's not last season, the season before, but if they're playing that kit for contractual reasons, when they're at home in a Premier League game or a FA Cup game or a Champions League game, all the fans are doing is losing their identity to their club a bit further. Yeah. They're putting themselves a bit further out of touch of the fan base.
I will say there's nothing worse than...
I do disagree with wearing an away kit at home, unless stupidly. Well, no, that's not the point, because you've actually got a third kit.
I do think it's quite funny when you do, as a fan, you turn up and you're in your home shirt and you suddenly find, and it's happened a couple of times to me, where you find they're not wearing that shirt. And I know, and more so when you're a kid, if I'm being brutally honest, you turn up and you've got your home shirt, your name on the back for Christmas or whatever, and you rock up and you're at home on Boxing Day, and then you find out, right, they're wearing the away kit. So you feel ridiculous. You do look idiot.
If you go to a West Ham kit and West Ham game, and you're in the stadium, 2/3 of the stadium is going to be people dressed in claret and blue shirts.
Regardless.
And then you turn up and let's say West Ham are playing their third kit, which is bright green, for example.
Well, we had that black one for the FA Cup, but we only wore the FA Cup games. So,
but all you're doing is there's 20,000-30,000 people there who are wearing a completely different kit, who are completely alien from the club then.
No, I agree. I do think that the shame is I don't think we'll ever solve it. I disagree. The only way to solve it in the lower leagues is to stop buying them. Like, as in a mass boycott.
It's just a shame to me that it's not through genuine need. That's the biggest disappointment.
But I do get, and I go back to that original one with Luton, that some of them are so unnecessary. You've got such a distinctive home kit of orange. I genuinely don't know. Is there another team that play in orange?
Blackpool.
Okay, Blackpool. Outside of them. So really, you've got third kit for one team.
Hang on. Blackpool playing all orange. Your away kit's all white. You haven't got a problem.
No,
you need the third kit.
That's true. No, but that's true.
Because there's going to be some... The referee will have some crap rule. Goes, the shades wrong.
It matches the ball.
It's a shades too complex. It's near enough to say, but you have to wear a third kit.
Yeah, but that's only through rules again to support the corporate side of it, which isn't. It's just wrong.
I agree. I think the only way, and it is something that we do need to kick out of football because it is frustrating. I think the only way you solve it is you have a mass boycott of third kits and say, right, we're not going to buy them, and then, like you say, you've got no one sponsoring them, which means no one will make them. And then we go back to the old school when everyone could just afford for the home shirt or the away shirt.
Do you know what? The thing is, third kits, they were introduced as early as the 1930s. So
yeah, but not in the mass
And
thing.
I'm sure they weren't for
United-
corporate reasons.
No.
No, obviously that's totally different back then. But Manchester United, for example, won the European Cup in '68
Yeah.
with a third kit.
But isn't that because Benfica played in red and white though, isn't it?
Yeah.
And Manchester United had a red home shirt and a white away shirt, which
So
is a
that's-
necessity.
But then why have such what's the word? A common colour as a away kit? It's ridiculous.
Do you remember when
I was
Liverpool...
supposed to know that Man United were going
No,
to
but everyone knows. If you play football, everyone knows if you're in a red kit, you're going to need to change. You know that. If your
Yes,
colours
I
are red.
agree with that.
But what I mean is, you also know within the law of averages, there's going to be a few teams with a white kit.
Do you remember the Liverpool
Yeah, but
one?
then you said
The early
that-
2000s? And they had that. They went for that dark green away kit.
Yeah.
Do you remember? That was brilliant. Did they ever have to use a third kit that season? I bet they bloody didn't. Did they?
What about Chelsea's luminous high-vis shirts?
But that's what I mean.
Less said
Again,
about that, the
though,
better.
it was a shocking kit, but never had to clash. Coventry City's chocolate brown. Name me another team playing chocolate brown.
Bristol City, probably the best one with a purple shirt and green shorts.
That's what I mean. So for me, and you could even go to the next step. Is the last thing I'll say that you hear about all these sports psychologists and science that goes into, get goalkeeper kits that are going to be all jazzy to put off the star. So you could say, right, let's go down that route. But then again, you'll only need 2 kits.
But
Surely.
that's half of the reason with the clashes. Is,
Yeah.
it clashes with the opposition's goalkeeper because they're wearing green or grey or
But
some
it
pathetic colour.
it
anyway.
clashes with the
But
referee.
if you think about the logic of it, rather than making one goalkeeper change his kit, let's make a whole team of 15 outfield players change their whole kit.
And let's go for your West Ham black kit for the FA Cup.
Yeah.
Kit. What colour do the referees in England traditionally?
No, I think
are we going to have a clash with referee? Didn't see that coming.
No,
Do you know also the referees have a third kit?
Yeah, referees.
Yeah,
But they have a third shirt, don't they?
Well, yeah.
Having said that, that is
It's yellow and green and the blue. They've had various colours.
while we're being honest on the Honest Football Podcast, that makes sense because you don't buy replica referee kits. You don't see kids going, can I have the latest referee kit?
Well, they don't want to shout and abuse it.
No, exactly. That's the thing. But what I mean is that third kit is probably out of all of the third kits in football, the referee's one is probably the only one that's done for legitimate reasons because it clashes with another a team who's playing. Yeah. Because it's not done for corporate reasons, is it? They don't do it for a marketing.
Well, they've got sponsors nowadays.
Yeah, but their sponsors are all of the kits, aren't they? What I mean is like you say, black. Maybe people need to think about having a black away kit because it is, it doesn't make sense to be honest. If you've got referees in black,
I think
It makes it easier nowadays to have a black away kit because referees obviously have different colours.
Realistically, we're saying there's not a problem with having a third shirt in particular for necessity, but corporation that's all it's for at the moment, and the contractual wearing of it just takes identity.
No,
it's not the right thing for football.
way to solve it: boycott it. Everyone, if you stop buying them now, we'll start a revolution from this very show here now. We'll start a revolution. No more third kits. Hashtag that. There you go.
It's question of the day time, and just a reminder on the scores, it's still 1-0 to Charlie Betts.
And the answer was still Grimsby.
And you're going to get as many clues as possible.
I'll just line that up every week.
Okay.
Go on, right.
Right.
I think
Today's topic is about stadiums, football stadiums in the UK. Back in the early 90s, there was a Telly report after the tragedy of Hillsborough.
God, how dark is this question going to be?
No, it's not going to be dark at all.
Goodness me.
Obviously,
Hasn't started.
God, talk about taboo subjects. Right, go on.
no, it's not. It's a general question. It's obviously not going to talk about Hillsborough because obviously that's a massive tragedy. But what I want to know is, after that report, what was the first? Well, which team had the new stadium built after that?
So hang on. So which was the first team to get a stadium built
after
after
the Taylor? New stadium built after the Taylor report.
So after that report, wasn't there certain restrictions in place?
Yes, obviously you had it all
That's
seater
when all
stadium.
seater
Yeah, all seater changes. So who had the first?
And did
stadium?
defensive come down or
Defensive
defensive?
came down after that. Yeah.
I mean, the
And
problem-
that was from the report.
The problem
So
for
what
me
was
is this is before I was born.
No,
This is before you
no,
were
I think
born.
it's
This is
before I was born.
No, it was after you.
Of course it wasn't.
When was Hillsborough?
It was 89.
Oh yeah, I was born in '89. I hardly remember that, am I? Like,
Well, actually, you was only a month.
right, okay,
You was
I'm trying
only
to
a few
think.
days old.
who might have got a stadium?
I've got one in mind. That it was a few years later, but I will go for it anyway. But I'll wait for Charlie first to see.
Okay.
And I hope he doesn't have the same one. But I know it's not going to be right because it's at least 3 or 4 years later.
I'm trying to think you might have got a newer stadium. No, it was '90s. No, I was going to go some. I was
Well,
going
got to remember, obviously, the new stadium was built in. Obviously,
Well, it would have been
in
nice, 'cause the
90s,
report-
that's when
the report would have
was,
taken a couple of
early
years,
90s,
so.
Oh, okay. I
Also,
see.
the tragedy was in 89.
Yeah.
It took a few.
Right, I think I've got one.
I've got 2 in
Okay,
my mind, so
okay.
I'll let you go
So-
first, and
Right,
then just in case.
I don't know. This might be way off.
Okay.
I'm going to go for the Britannia Stadium, Stoke City.
Oh, that's a good shot.
I've got two in mind,
Go
and
for
I
it.
know they're both in the
you
90s.
have one choice now.
I know they're 90s at some point, but I don't know where.
Okay.
So I've got in
Oh,
mind.
no, I can do
I've got Sunderland in mind.
Yeah, they went from Roker Park, didn't they?
And I've got Wigan in mind, but I think that might have been a little
See,
bit
the other
later.
one I thought was Derby County.
Oh, that's
Because
not
they
a
had the
good
baseball
shout.
ground, didn't they?
There were too many.
I'll give you
I'm
a
gonna-
clue.
I'll-
I'll give you a clue. It's not Grimsby.
I'm going to go out of the two for Sunderland just because of the Roker Partner. You just said one, didn't you?
No, I think it was
No,
Stoke
you
City.
had your choice.
I'm sure Stoke City was before, yeah. I
Right.
think it was before the county ground, what it was called.
Pride
Derby was
Park,
Pride Park, sorry,
Yeah,
that's the one, yeah.
Pride Park. You're both wrong.
Ah!
There's a shock.
I can't remember what. Well, Pride Park was built in
It was
96.
It was definitely mid 90s.
Sunderland, same light was built, was used in 97, but it was the Den, Millwall,
Oh.
Was it?
in 1993.
Wow.
Was it really? Never ever in a million years would I have guessed that.
No, absolutely not.
It's definitely not Grimsby. But, but yeah,
Maybe
Millwall.
next week.
But considering that you see the Den appear up on every TV advert and on the Dream Team, the TV show.
Was that the Stadium was used?
Yeah, the Den.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I know they just kept.
That just kept.
They either had Chelsea or Leicester, didn't they?
Yeah,
Like
show
colour
games.
and
They're never going to
purple.
show Millwall because Millwall very
You can buy
small.
those shirts, can't you? Harchester United.
Yeah, you can. You still can. Yeah.
But let's not, eh?
Ah!
Why not?
So the Den.
The
Wow.
Den Millwall.
Fair
So,
play, yeah. Wouldn't have got that.
we're getting very close to the end of the season, and it's 1-0 Charlie Beck season.
And it still will be at the end of the
Well,
season.
Charlie,
won't
no,
it?
to be honest, Charlie's keeping the possession. He's still got his lead.
Yeah. I'm just popping it sideways now.
Yeah, use that third kit of yours.
By next week's episode, he'll be in the cornflake.
I think next week I might end up a short back pass to the goalkeeper and he snatches one and
Yeah,
slots it
Cody
down.
might score. But,
Can we have one after my birth next week, please?
yeah, it depends on my question for next week. But even though I've got it already, so still 1-0 Charlie Vets.
Very good.
Thank you for listening to the podcast. Let us know your thoughts on the topics and the players in the shit list in the comments section below. And don't forget to like, share and subscribe.